Hello guys and welcome to Law Putra's YouTube channel. Today we will discuss about the privileged communication which is under section 122 of Indian Evidence Act 1872. I am Jagannath Kulkarni and I welcome you all to today's discussion. Now before we proceed, let us talk about what is meant by privileged communication. It is a protected communication when it happens between two or more individuals. But it is not a regular communication. But when these individuals are in some relationship which is legally protected, and the court says under no circumstances the courts can force any individual or individuals who are involved in such privileged communication, protected communication, to disclose details of such communication. And in case any lawyer of either side, either of the litigating parties, chooses to disclose such information, then that information will be regarded as inadmissible in court of law. So this is the privilege of such communication. When two individuals enter into a legally recognized relationship, this is very important. So it is not applicable to any communication. It is applicable only to such communication which is being happened in legally recognized relationship. All communication that takes place between them, such individuals, is protected under law. Why this is so? Because privacy of confidential relationships is valued in society and therefore it is not admissible as evidence. So this is the crux of this privileged communication. Now, again, while we talk about privileged communication, certain conditions need to be fulfilled. Number one, such communication has to happen only between those individuals who entered in a protected legal relationship, and no third party should be involved. Had there been any third party involved, then such communication will not be protected, will not be privileged. Also, such communication between individuals has to happen in a private setting and not in the public place. Also, information which is communicated between these individuals in such protected legal relationship should not be disclosed to any third party by any of them. Again, remember, privacy of confidential relationships is valuable in our society. Now, when we talk about the privilege of witness under Evidence Act, privilege of witness to retain proof to disclose certain issues and certain conditions in which certain people are not constrained to testify, which means to give evidence in court of law. So this is the privilege of witness, and it depends on two things: convenience and public policy. Now, when we talk about the privileged communication under Evidence Act, we have section 122 to section 132. 122 talks about communications during marriage, which is topic of our today's discussion. 123 talks about evidence as to affairs of state, the government or the government body. 124 talks about the official communications. 125 talks about information as to commission of offences. 126 talks about professional communications. 127 talks about whether section 126 to apply to interpreters, etc. 128 talks about privilege not waived by volunteering evidence. 129 talks about confidential communications with legal advisors of their clients. 130 talks about production of title deeds of witness, not a party. 131 talks about production of documents or electronic records which another person having custody could refuse to produce. And lastly, 132 is witness not excused from answering on the ground that answer will criminate. Now, today's discussion is section 122, which talks about communications during marriage. Let us see what the section says. It says, no person who either is married or has been married shall be compelled to disclose any communication made to him during marriage by any person to whom he is married or has been married. So remember this, the effect of marriage is important, so he cannot be compelled. Also, nor shall he be permitted. Firstly, it was compulsion, now it is a permission. So permission is also not there to disclose any such information unless the person who made it such communication or that person's representative in interest consents. So consent is important, then only it will be permitted. Otherwise no compulsion, no permission. Except in cases are given two exceptions. Number one, suits between married persons, same married persons, or proceedings in which one married person is prosecuted for crime committed against the other married person. So two exceptions and two conditions. No compulsion, no permission without consent, and suits and proceedings are allowed. Now, let us talk about the case law. The very famous case is Nagraj alias Kumar versus State of Karnataka. It is in the year 1996, mentioned in the Criminal Law Journal, page number 2901, and belongs to Karnataka High Court. It says the court has said that even though Section 120 of Evidence Act permits a spouse to tender evidence against other spouse, except in suits or criminal proceedings between two spouses, this is section 120, but section 122 makes it clear that this privilege extends to all communications. Said communication does not need to be confidential. So remember this, whatever communication happened during marriage between two individuals gets protection. Only spouses who made the communication can waive it and not the witness, as the privilege does not extend to the third parties to witnesses but only to the married persons. Also, even the court cannot permit the witness to disclose even if he or she is willing to share. So there is no permission, no compulsion. It is incumbent to ask for consent of party against whom evidence is being given under section 122. So remember these things, very landmark case, Nagraj alias Kumar versus State of Karnataka. Another interesting case is MC Varghese versus TJ Poonam and another. It is in the year again 1996, it's a different case, All India Reporter case. Only the communication, Supreme Court said, only the communications that took place during the marriage are protected under the privilege mentioned in section 122 of Evidence Act, and the protection continues even after dissolution of marriage or death of either spouse. Communication before marriage or after dissolution of marriage does not come under purview of section 122. So only communications during marriage gets protection. See, so much of the happiness of human life may fairly be said to depend on the inviolability of domestic confidence that the alarm and unhappiness occasioned to society by invading its sanctity and compelling the public disclosure of confidential communications between husband and wife would be a far greater evil than the disadvantage which may occasionally arise from the loss light which such revelations might throw on the questions in dispute. Hence, all communications between them should be held privileged. And this is the jurisprudence, this is the logic, this is the genesis behind this privileged communication mentioned by Commission on Common Law Procedure, second report in the year 1853. So thank you all for this today's discussion. We discussed today privileged communication under section 122 of Indian Evidence Act 1872, and I am Jagannath Kulkarni for Law Putra. Thank you.